Hello everyone, that's Mark and I'm Liam and we are from Whysup and we are back to do your third video for the Bolton Manbassadors.
Yeah, so do's is the first one is have conversations and make it okay to talk about mental health. I think as blokes we're all really good at talking about what your favourite football team is, did you have a pint at the weekend, all them things that blokes have spoken about for a very long time, but it almost seems quite strange sometimes when you ask someone how they're feeling or how are you. Sometimes people can look at you a bit strange if you ask that question. That's got to be normalised. Another thing that's to do is definitely let that person know that having a mental health struggle is common. We work in so many different sectors with so many different organisations, from construction to professional sport, and no matter what organisation you work in, there is always someone there that's presenting with a problem, and sometimes it might not be the people that you expect. Everybody's affected it at some point, and certainly if not directly, maybe indirectly they've got a family member that's suffering with it. The final do is let that person know there is always a way out, and that can be done through professional support. There is always help available for someone. Look, at the age of 29 I thought there was no way out of my problem. I was having regular suicidal thoughts, and I genuinely thought I'd lost all hope and there was no way out of this problem. I found help off an organisation and people that I'd never even met who was 100 miles away from where I live. So no matter what, please let that person know there is always a way out, and there's always professional help and support waiting.
So some of the don'ts, things not to do. I suppose the first one, and it is a big one, is try not to interrupt. If you've got a person who, after who knows how long, has decided they are going to open up and they are going to have a conversation, one of the worst things that can happen is if they get cut off. Let them speak, listen, and give them time to say whatever they need to say at that moment in time. The second thing on the don'ts is try not to judge. Who knows what's going to come out in a conversation, but one thing's for definite is that person may or may not have done things that are sort of in line with what you would, but also if they're struggling with their mental health, they may not be well, and we've got to try and have a bit of an understanding and try not to judge. And the last point on there is probably quite an obvious one in many ways, is try not to gossip. If someone's taken the step to open up, gossip can be harmful, and I'd go further than that, it can be extremely cruel and damaging. And in the role that you've got as Manbassadors, it's really important that you maintain that confidence and that trust. And as I say, it might have taken months for that person to eventually reach out and have that conversation. So just try and be respectful, I suppose, as much as anything else.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I think your role can be potentially life-saving. I think you're going to have conversations and ask them questions that we've just said at the top there, and that can be potentially the difference between someone living and dying, and we don't say that lightly. There were a number of times where we went into the workplace or we're going out our normal day, and we used to be thinking inside our heads, I wish someone had just asked me, am I okay, and have that conversation. So it can be potentially life-saving, you asking the right questions and knowing what to say.
So on that note, that brings us to the end of our third video. Again, hope you found it useful, and we'll be back with